morning, everybody, and whew, am I yellow here? Let's see if we can fix that a bit. Well, that's no good. I'm very yellow. We can turn down the yellow, I suppose. Now I'm just messing with things. All right, well, whatever. It's not anything I do can really improve on how I look. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Dice Tower. Welcome to Skeleton Week. Skeleton Week is a week in which there's going to be fewer videos put out on the Dice Tower, about 2 per day. And the reason for that is we're prepping for next week, which is the Winter Spectacular, which will be fantastic and terrific. The Winter Spectacular is going to have probably, I don't know, 30 top 10 lists in it. 9, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, between 20 and 30 different top 10 lists, including top 10 of the year. My lists are all now finalized. Nothing I play from here on out can change, probably. There's still a lot of great games I haven't played, but you know what? I played 24 games, and that feels like a pretty good selection there. If you want to vote in the top 10 games of the year, that's going to close probably Wednesday. I'm going to shut that down, so go to our website, dicetower.com, and vote on the best games of the year. Also, if you have a funny moment or clip of the year and you want to enter that contest, then get going to do that, because we're going to close that down very much soon. Of course, we always have the same question. Mike was silly enough to ask it, are we going to get a top 10 of the top 10 list? But you know what? I think it's important we could do top 10s of the year, and we do them, and lots of people do top 10s of the year, and that's pretty cool, right? To look at the best games that come out over the year. But there's a lot of games that are not going to make any of those lists. So we're also talking about the best art, the best components, the best card games, the best, I actually have a top 10 deduction games, party games, things like that. So I'm hoping that you'll do that. Will we have any guests for live plays during the Winter Spectacular? Well, we will actually. The two of the ring winners from the World Series of Board Game are going to come down and school us, I'm sure. They'll be here. And also Mike DeLisio will be in town for the Winter Spectacular, so it's going to be a good time. We have all the games scheduled, some of the biggest games from 2024 and 2025 going to be played. Yeah, there's just a lot of different things going on. Of course, crowd surfing and smorgasbord. Now, we still have crowd surfing this week. We have that scheduled, and we have a live play today. We'll be playing Black Forest. I've not played that yet, so too late probably to make my top 10s. But what kind of year would it be when I didn't play Rosenberg's new game? The best 2-player cooperative flight sim game goes to Sky Team. Well, maybe, but Sky Team came out in 2023. Oh, I hope everyone had a great Thanksgiving. We had a good Thanksgiving. I recorded our food stuff, which I will be posting to our Patreon channel, the different foods that we ate. I just have to edit that, and we'll get that up there. So keep that in mind. Also, keep in mind that our top 10s of the years, those extra little bits that we do at the end of top 10s will not be Patreon stuff. We're just going to leave that in the main videos for the best of the year stuff, if there even is any. I had a good Thanksgiving here. Thank you, Kenny. Many of the Dice Tower people and their families came and got together. Some Dice Tower people went and did their own things. But I think we had 22. We even got Miss Debbie to show up, who makes our key lime pie. She came by. Yeah, we had fried turkey, mac and cheese, mashed potatoes, stuffing, corn, celery was in the stuffing, sorry. Stuffing, carrots, cauliflower, pickled eggs, cranberry sauce, dip, ham. There was some really delicious buns. So anyhow, yeah, so it was good. Do I miss snowy Christmases? I do not really. I mean, yeah, there's something nice to say about seeing the snow outside, but I'm also glad not to be driving in the snow on Christmas. My daughter was just driving back from her Thanksgiving holiday. She went to visit her fiance's family, and they got hit with a very light snowstorm on the way back, and she sent me a video. She was so happy to see snow for the first time in 15 years, probably for her, something like that. So she was very, very, very pleased about that. But yeah, snowy Christmases are fine. I had a game day over this past weekend, and for people who say, do you play games for fun or for review only? I played nothing new this past Saturday, just some excellent games. My favorite thing I ate in Bangkok, probably I had this crab dish at the very end. I went to this little restaurant that just sold different seafood dishes, and it was some crab noodle thing that was really delicious. That was probably my favorite thing I ate. Although I had a pizza there that was really delicious too. And I did not get out of Bangkok other than the boat ride because I just didn't schedule enough time for myself. I mean, I went to the aquarium. I went to an aquarium in Bangkok, so that was pretty neat. But I just didn't schedule enough time. If I ever come back again, I'm going to schedule an extra day or two for me to just look around and see things. What's an example of scoring such that it also subtracts the same amount of points from your opponent, effectively doubling the value of points scored? What would be the point of that, I guess? If I get 10 points and you lose 10 points for my 10 points in a two-player game, you'd have to explain it to me. I don't understand what the point of it is. Why not just give me 20 more points? Will there be a review of Stalker 2, the board game? Maybe at some point, but it's on our shelf along with everything else that needs to get played. Have you ever had someone lay down on your stomach and listen to the noises? I don't understand that question at all. Okay. I would love to have a white Christmas. Again, I think that would be nice to have a white Christmas. But again, in theory, snow is only good when it's falling and you look outside and it's blanketed and it's great. And when you're a kid and you go out and play in the snow, it's some of the best things in the world to do that. But driving in the snow and the slush and the ice and all that, that's less exciting. So there is that. Let's see, lots of different good games I've been playing lately. Like I said, I've been spending time doing the top 10 since I don't have any questions right now. Let me tell you the top 10 list that I'm doing for the Spectacular. I'm doing my top 10 of the year, my top 10 surprises, top 10 reprints, expansions, art, components, top 10 deduction games, 10 more great games that didn't make my top 10 list, top 10 family games, top 10 games that did something different, and top 10 party games. I will be recording those directly after recording this video, so starting to get some of those ready, because we got a lot of editing and things to do for next year. Have you ever think of doing a top 10 best table presents game? That's pretty much the same as top 10 components. There's not a lot of difference between that. I'm looking for a good solo game with the dice mechanic from Coimbra, so dice value color matters. Well, if someone knows one, let him know. What games did you play Saturday? Did you choose the games to play? Not particularly. I just asked people what they wanted to play. For example, some people came in, the very first people came in, I said, what do you want to play? And they said, we've been dying to play Clank Catacombs. I'm like, all right. Next people came in, they said, hey, we heard there's a new game, we want to try SETI. I was like, done. Then a couple more people came and they said, hey, we want to try Lord of the Rings Duel. I'm like, done. So I just was teaching different various games over the course of the day. Chronologic is fast becoming a replacement for awkward guests. I can see that for sure. Is there a particular trend you see in gaming that you're looking forward to seeing grow in 2025? Trend. I can tell you right now, my least favorite trend is these big boxes. I'm only saying this because I just finished the boring unboxing for this week. But the The ridiculous size of boxes has got to stop. It's over the top. I mean, it's odd because it just doesn't seem like there's any benefit to having these giant boxes other than like to have a massive ego. I get if you love a game and it's your favorite game, then you need a big box for it. That makes sense. Yeah, that you want to really show that game off. But a game that you're backing for the first time on Kickstarter, it doesn't need a big box. It hasn't proven itself to need that. And so, I don't know. I just think it's kind of getting kind of outrageous and ridiculous, and woe betide these people who are backing multiples of these. Other trends, let's see. Trends that are happening right now, there's obviously a lot of trick-taking games. I don't need that to continue. We have enough trick-taking games to last us for a decade at this point. A lot of deduction games. Like I said, I'm doing a top 10. I wouldn't mind seeing that continue, although I don't want that category to get too clogged up either. Small asymmetrical two-player games, we're starting to see more of those come out, and I wouldn't mind that. Although I could live without the duel thing. Last week we got, 2 duel games back-to-back. I got Isle of Cats duel and Wingspan and Everdell duel. One of them's duo and one's duel. Doesn't matter. So there's a lot of that going on. There's so many of those that you'll probably see a top 10 on that at some point. One of the things we're going to do in a few weeks, you'll see our top 10 games of 2023 revisited, because I think that's important to do. I think it's important to go back and see what are your top 10 games and what has changed. As an interesting note, I usually work all the time, but I did take a day off or two over this past Thanksgiving holiday, and I played a video, not a new video game, it came out last year, but I had never played it before. I'm always late when it comes to video games. But I had heard about this one, and a board game recently made me more interested in going back and playing it, and that's the game Dredge, which is a game in which you're a fisherman on this little boat, and you go out in the water, and there's very Cthulhu vibes going on. Like, you are going out in the ocean and catching fish, and you put the fish like little polyominoes, you put them in your boat, you bring them back, you sell them, and you're upgrading your ship, but everyone is weird. There's secrets that people keep telling you about. I definitely have met a zombie, but that's like the mild thing. If you're out at night, I don't know that I've been as afraid in a game or had such tension in my stomach as being out in your boat at night on the ocean. At one point I was going in the day, and I heard this huge rumble, and I was like, what is this? And this monstrous leviathan just swam right underneath my ship. Scared the snot out of me. And it's amazing because your ship's so little and stuff. But that ain't the only bad thing out there. There's other bad monsters. That's probably the biggest. But I also found a pit with this humongous squid in it, and there's just all kinds of scary stuff out there, and the deliberately raises your fears. It's such an interesting game. I've read that it's not particularly long. I don't think I'm even halfway through it, but I played it a lot over the weekend, and I really enjoyed it. I found myself having a lot of fun. That tenseness is there. I go out to fish during the day, and I'm like, it's getting late. Get back to port. And there's also some fish that you can only catch at night, so sometimes I'll go out at night, but I don't want to go too far from port, and the whole time I'm like, I hope the monsters don't get me. So I just find it to be an interesting game. That's Dredge, if you were interested in it. Black Friday sales that people are talking about. I bought some stuff on Black Friday, but it was like Christmas gifts for my kids, so that didn't include board games. Did you finish Chained Echoes eventually? My mind has gone blank. What is Chained Echoes? That's a video game. Oh yeah, no, I did not. I guess I never got around to it, sorry. From recording to editing to finished product, how long does this take on average? There is no average. Everything takes a different amounts of time. Some things are pretty easy to do. Other things take a lot more effort. Like a top 10, as soon as we're done, it's done. you don't need to do any editing, but we do the editing beforehand by getting the pictures and things ready. While a review, there's just a bunch of, I can't really tell you, especially since multiple people are involved in the process now. My cousins played an escape room game on Thanksgiving. I didn't participate because I suck at them. Well, Freedom's 5's box is worse than Gloomhaven, but Freedom 5 does have a normal retail size box. So there is that at least. You may be saving these for Winter Spectacular, so it's fine if you don't want to answer. Any first impressions? So, Thunder Road Carnival Chaos, I have not played. I don't know that I will play it. I like Thunder Road a ton. Thunder Road's fun, drive down, shoot stuff, blow things up. The Carnival of Chaos turns it into where you're just trying to blow each other up, and it loses the raise aspect, so I wasn't as interested in that. Some people here played it, but Mistborn, the deck building game, we will review this game at some point, but we're actually playing this one live during the Winter Spectaculars. You can watch it then. So I will be doing it there. Oh, you said you're particularly interested in the target mechanic. That's very King of Tokyo-esque. When you attack someone, you have to attack whoever is the target. If you do that, that person can give the target to anybody else, or they can hang on to it. If they hang on to it, when they do attack, it hits everybody. So it's interesting. You'll see it. How do you determine if a game is too similar to its predecessor to deserve a spot on the top 10 of the year? Thinking of Dune Uprising, which did not come out this year. That was last year. Lord of the Rings Duel, Shipwrights, Redux, or Wormspan. Okay, so for me, I thought Wormspan was different enough to be in consideration. Shipwrights Redux is different enough, but there's no way it's in consideration. I just didn't like it that much. Lord of the Rings Duel, I think, is very different in many ways. Yes, you've seen a lot of this stuff, but it's different enough to be its own game. Dune Uprising, that one's trickier. I think that one's too close. But again, it's different for everyone. The main part where the difference matters is when I'm going to discuss it on for Dice Tower Awards. But for top 10 of the year, that's for each person to decide. I don't think I'll play the target mode in Mistborn. Co-op is tough as it is. The Lord Rule's a big jerk. See, that's the thing. I don't know that I want to play co-op. I was pretty happy with the competitive mode. Let's see here. Finally finished Way of Kings over the weekend. Biggest book I've ever read. On to the next. Oh, that's right. When is Book 5 coming out? Book 5 of the Mist of, sorry. Book 5 is coming out December 6th. That's 4 days from now. So I am going to be reading that on, I'm going to save that book. I'm going to not read the internet, so I'm not spoiled. But I'm going to save that book. Me and my wife are going on a cruise, and the week before Christmas, and so I'm going to read that book then. So, just as a heads up on that, I will be on a cruise the week before Christmas. I'll be out that week, but I will be back the following week. So I'll be back on the week of Christmas, with the exception of I'll be out a good chunk of Christmas Eve and Christmas Day, but I'll pop in and do a Q&A or some other things for you all. I just played Feast for Odin for the first time and plan on purchasing it. I really liked it. How would you compare Feast for Odin to Caverna? They both had the same designer. Would it be redundant to own both? No, they're very different games. I mean, they're tremendously different. I don't even know what's really, I mean, you'll see some similarities in the sense that they have the same designer, but I wouldn't consider them the same at all. Deep Regrets. That's right. That's the board game that's coming out. And when I saw that, the trailer fascinated me for that game. I really liked the trailer for that game. And then I remembered hearing about Dredge, and it's kind of been in the back of my mind. And over the weekend, I was like, let's see what games there are for PlayStation. And I was like, oh, that's right. And I thought about the older games. So I don't know. I kind of fun to go back and play these older games for the first time. I'm glad for people here also like Dredge. Will you be getting back to the 4 coins in 2025? It's on the schedule, so yes. Heat, Thunder Road, or Joyride? Which do I feel like playing right now? If I was going to play one right now, it would probably be Thunder Road, of those 3, just off the top of my head. What's the smallest game you played this year? And what's the smallest game you played and you enjoyed? That would be telling. That will be next week. It's on my 10 more great games list. Coming to Dice Tower East. That's right. Check out dicetowereast.com, folks. You can come to our convention in Orlando. Coming from Vancouver. Well, it's very different down here. Also, don't forget Dice Tower West. You can sign up for both of those. Dave the Diver is a very fun fishing game, and a cooking sushi element that's fun. I'm sure it is, and I might jump to another one, but I'm going to play Dredge till I'm like played it out. I always do that with a game. I mean, I want to get my money's worth out of video games, so I play them a lot. Do I have any board game predictions for next year? Sure I do, but we're saving that for our board game smorgasbord. We'll do that one of the last ones of the year, or the first one of the next year, one of those two. Any combination mechanics you would like to see in the future? I'm hoping for more innovative games this next year. You can hope for that, but you know what? When people say that, I always wonder, are they in the same hobby as me? Like, games just keep getting better. Like, I made my list of top 10 games this year, and it was hard. I have top 10 surprises, which is also hard to do, and then 10 more great games. That's 30 different games, those 3 lists together, and I think they're all absolutely fantastic. And if people are like, I don't know, nothing good comes out anymore. Then maybe you just play the games you enjoy and don't get on the internet much. Just enjoy your games that you have. I mean, that's a reasonable thing. But people talking about lack of innovation, they want some lightning bolt to come out of the sky. Like, that happens occasionally. Dominion with deck building was an amazing innovation, right? That was something brand new. And I'm sure we'll see stuff like that again. Not according to some people, like, innovation's dead. Of course, they said that back in the 90s, too. But in reality, we have so many games that came out this year that are really good. People are like, oh, they're all rehashes. They're not. I played them. You haven't. So I'm telling you, there's a lot of really fun, interesting games out there. And if I talk about a game and you're like, there's just too much going on in that game, I'm not interested in it. Well, that makes sense. I get it. But then there's simple games. Oh, that's too simple. I don't want to play it. Okay? Then there's fun party games. And there's just so much good stuff out there to play. And again, I say this all the time, if they stop sending out games right now, no more games were ever made for the rest of humanity. For the next 1,000 years, we would be good. We really would be. So, and I don't think many of you are going to live to 1,000. I'll be in the Caribbean during the Winter Spectacular, so now I'm sure I'll be able to watch. You probably shouldn't. Enjoy it. Let's see here. Getting my Ruination expansion kickstarted today. Are we going to play it? I don't know. I haven't got it, so I don't think so. Yep, book 5 is coming out. Yeah, the book 4 really was like a cliffhanger-esque ending. So I would really like to see a new. This book is going to finish the first half of this series, like kind of a fairly definitive finish. Then they jump, I think, 10 years to the next series. I'm okay with that. Do you ever listen to graphic audio books? I really don't. And that's weird because my co-host on the podcast, Eric Summer, that's what he does. And you would think I would listen to him, but I just find them to be too slow. I'm such a fast speed reader that it's hard for me to listen to somebody. I know it's very good and it's a great way to do books, but I just like reading. How are the kiddos and grandkiddos doing? You must lose track of everyone. Well, there's 7 kids, two more attachments with one husband and one fiance, and then 2 grandkids. So that's not too hard to keep track of. It's hard to keep track of birthdays. Let's see. When is hurricane season in Florida? Summer? Yeah, basically. Hurricane season is now over, officially ended at the end of November, so we don't gotta worry about no hurricanes for a bit. Best time to come down. That's why we have the cruise down here then. What was my 21st favorite game this year? Well, you'll have to wait till next week to find out. I see some companies like Matago changing the sort of games they will publish. Same thing with PandaStars, more smaller games and less bigger games. Thoughts, are they losing identity? Well, in my opinion, the Matago one is just silliness. I think a lot of people don't realize that Matago owns Colossal Games, right? So Matago is saying we're going to focus on smaller games, and Colossal's still going to make the other games that Matago made. It's the same thing. They're doing the same thing. It's just they're moving games around. Maybe there's something more I don't know about, but restructuring-wise, that's all that is. PandaStars making more smaller games and less bigger. Well, it wasn't like PandaStars made a lot of big games anyway. They made bigger Euro-style games, and we'll see. I don't think companies are losing identity. I think companies need to focus on identity. Looking for a book to read. Any suggestions? You know, lately I've been reading nonfiction. I often read a lot of fiction. So I just read The Late Shift, which is a history of Jay Leno and David Letterman to see who would take over the show after Johnny Carson passed away. They actually took this book and made a made-for-TV movie on HBO, I believe. Kathy Bates was in it. This was like in the 90s they made that movie. So this book is an older book. And then they made a sequel to it called, what was the other? It was something about The War for Late Night, which was about when Conan O'Brien and Jay Leno kind of battled. And which, by the way, I'm glad I read that second book because I watched the Conan O'Brien and Jay Leno thing on TV, and Jay Leno came off very bad. Conan O'Brien like a superhero. Reading that book put a lot of different things into perspective. Then I read Desperate Networks, which was about ABC versus NBC and programming, which is interesting, and CBS and Fox. And now I'm reading Oscar Wars, which is a history of the Oscars, which I just thought would be interesting. I don't know why I got caught up in this nonfiction section, but that's what I'm reading right now. I think all 4 of those books are pretty interesting. What's your plan and setup for fireworks this year? Do you string together multiple cakes, etc.? I don't, because I don't want to mess around. I just do one at a time. If we want to do multiple cakes, usually Jason and there's at least one other person out there, so we'll light 3 at the same time. That's pretty spectacular. That's good enough. Always be safe with fireworks. Is John DeClaire still your favorite designer currently? Who knows? You have to wait till we do that list again. I don't know, actually, off the top of my head. Have you ever been to Sweden? I have not. Would I like to go? Of course I'd like to go. I'd like to go to any country, basically. I wish I could finish Wind and Truth in a week. I'd be happy if I could finish it by summer. I think I'll be able to. Like I said, I'm a speed reader to some degree, but I'll be on a cruise with my wife without the dice tower. I do this every few years where I do a cruise with my wife, and because the Dice Tower Cruise is very fun. I have a great time on it. But my goal on the Dice Tower Cruise is to make sure everyone's having a good time. So I run around, jump from place to place, looking, make sure everyone's doing well, saying hi to everybody. I don't have it's just nice for 1 week a year to just kiss the world goodbye and kiss my wife hello and spend that week. It's good for us. My daughter's coming home from college and we're like, here's a key's house, we'll see you later. Don't keep the kids alive. I'm very much looking forward to it, although I haven't really thought about it because right now my focus is both on our Winter Spectacular, delivering our Kickstarter stuff, and getting ready for our Game Found campaign, which will be starting next year. Will we be reviewing Iron Forest at some point? There's this other channel as a recap of the year, and their font was saying this year is meh. Yeah, again, I honestly believe that anyone who thinks that any of the last 10 years are meh is jaded. I really do. Look, I'm just as much as anybody else. I play a game and I'm like, I've seen this before. And we get yelled at because we'll say, we played this game, but there's another game that does it better. In fact, this is someone in the YouTube channel was yelling about that. They're like, you can't compare games to other things. Each game should be on its own merits. And no, it's not true. There's a lot of other games out there. But man, I play so many interesting games. Like, we just played Tidal Blades 2, right? That's a dungeon crawl. There's a lot of things. But it does this card mechanism I've never seen before. It's in a universe that's different than everything else that's out there. I played the Kelp game where you have a shark versus an octopus, and I've never played a game like that before. Then I play games that I have played things like them before, like SETI, which is a bunch of mechanisms I've seen before, but has this really cool, interesting thing about aliens that you're trying to find. And then there's just so much. I just played a robot programming game, which felt different. And even if a game feels similar to other games, people have learned to streamline. They've taken a game that you've seen before, but added some neat new mechanisms to it. Yeah, well, if it's meh for you, so be it. But I'm having a fantastic time. I'm a solo traveler. How's the Dice Tower Cruise for solo travelers? Well, I think it's pretty good, actually. First of all, come to our, if you're coming on the cruise, come to our opening day. We do a thing for newcomers. And when it's over, we invite all newcomers to go around and meet other newcomers. And you can meet other people and schedule games with them. It's not a problem at all, really. You can find other people and just get together. Come down early in the morning. I'm sitting down there in the early morning, play a game with me, or I'll find you some people to play a game with. It's not hard to get you into games. So you did made a solo version of Space Base, which seems crazy. What is your favorite multiple player games that would really lose something solo? Like 80% of them. I can't really make a list there, but there's just a lot of games I don't want to play solo. HeroScape is finally back. It is indeed. I would love to play as Wayne. I agree. Wayne is one of my favorite characters ever in book reading. How do you go about speed reading? This is something I did not practice it. I started reading when I was 5. I learned to read, and I jumped ahead pretty quickly. I was reading 3rd grade books in kindergarten, and I just kept reading. I didn't have a TV growing up, so that was a good chunk of it. Since we didn't have a TV, my parents, they would take us to the library every 2 weeks. Every 2 weeks we went to the library, and you were allowed to get 5 books. So I got 5 books, my brother got 5 books, my sister got 5 books, etc. I would then read my 5 books straight through. Then I read my brother's 5 books, then my sister's 5 books. And I would look at my father's 5 books because he would get stuff about World War II or whatever that he was interested in, and I read all those. And I just read everything in sight. And then when I was done, I was like, well, I guess nothing else to do. I'll read them again. Speed reading is not as good as it sounds. You miss things sometimes. You don't read every word. I don't know how to explain it. I was playing Dredge, right? And so I pull up the dialogue, read it. My son was like, I didn't even read the first word. I didn't read everything on that page. I read enough to get an idea. I don't know. There's probably ways to learn to do it. I don't know that what I'm doing is the right way. There's probably a lot of bad things about it too. So, you know, when it comes to rules, it helps I can speed read, but I also have missed important rules before because my mind is programmed to catch important bullet points and stuff. And sometimes something's written in a not important way. I don't know how to describe it. So my eyes roll right over it, which can be bad. Yeah, see, this is a funny thing. People talk about watching videos fast. That's something I can't do. I watch videos at the speed they were made. I don't like watching them faster. Do you read novels in a couple hours? Maybe, but so for me, I don't read a lot at one time. I'm going to on a cruise, but I don't normally read a ton at a single time. I sit and read 20 minutes here, 20 minutes here, 20 minutes here. Read 3 or 4 chapters, and then just go on. I pause and I read for 5-10 minutes. If I'm eating a meal, I'll sit, and while I'm eating, I'll read. Help, my family runs the other way when I suggest board games. Well, then play with other people. Yeah, you don't have to play games with your family. It's okay. But also, if you really want to, I'm sure you can find something that they would like. Any tips for learning games? No. There's a lot of rule books. You say you struggle with a lot of rule books? I'm right there with you. Rule books are not your friend for the most part. And watching videos definitely helps. I would watch a ranking of the Cosmere books from you. I might do that. Maybe I'll do that with Wendy at some point since she's read most of them also. And ranking them. Because I definitely could rank them all. I just got a beautiful Mistborn collection. They're so nice. I'm going to read one of those tonight, actually. What's your opinion on people rating games if they only play the digital version? Oh, I don't care. Have you tried playing Balatro? Why is this? It's a video game. But I know nothing about it. The Gambling Rogue? Huh. Maybe I'll play it. Are there any games from the distant past that you think would be fun if Restoration Games modernized it? There is indeed. I've sent them many recommendations. Need deep in preparing for the next Kickstarter? Well, the next one's actually going to be Game Found. How do you keep up with all the family and work obligations while keeping such an amazing and optimistic outlook for all parents as you treat your colleagues like they are a secondary family? Well, first of all, my amazing and optimistic outlook is always on video, not always in person, right? I'm a human being like everybody else, so I'm definitely going to be grumpy at times. In fact, we sat down for dinner yesterday and my wife remarked, she said, "How are you feeling?" And I was like, "I'm so grumpy." And I unburdened my grumpiness on her and told her, and by the time we were done with dinner, I felt amazing because I have a great wife. I have a great workplace here. I don't know that I would say I treat them like family. I hope I'm not a very good boss in many ways. I'm working on that, trying to improve. But I like them, so I don't mind hanging out with them. We don't hang out a lot on weekends. I don't see them much at all, if ever, and stuff. But you know, we occasionally get together and do things, and I like doing things with them. Have you announced a theme for the yearly crowdfunding yet? If not, care to give us a hint? I will give you a hint. I'll give you a pictorial hint. I'll show you a piece of art from the new one. Where is that? That's here. And there. And there. And what should I show you? I will show you this. There you go. And I'll show you one more piece of artwork because I'm in a good mood. Let's see. I will show you. No, that gives it away. Yeah, this one will work. There you go. That's your hint. Alrighty. Thank you, Top of the Muffin, to you for the super chat. I appreciate it. What are the best part of my job? Best part of my job is playing the games and doing top 10 lists. Those are my two favorite things. Worst part of my job, all the paperwork and all the taxes and things like that. With the number of games coming out and that you need to play as part of being a reviewer, what are the games that keep pulling you back because you enjoyed it so much? Oh, well, that's easy enough. Watch our top 100 coming this January. Now that CMON's printing money with the United Series, do you think they'll ever reprint Project Elite? I don't know. I don't think it did particularly well. I liked it a lot. Have I tried the GeoGuessr app? I don't know what that is, so no, I have not. Have I tried Twin Suns and Star Wars Unlimited? I haven't. I really like Star Wars as is. I'm sure that the Twin Suns is fun, but I really like it as a two-player game. My most anticipated game of this year is Clank Legacy 2. Well, I know they just started shipping it, so you should probably get that. It says, well, the brain and eyes can supposedly read like 5,000 words a minute, but we tend to read in speaking speed. Maybe if I do that, I feel that feels so limiting. I guess. But for my wife sees a block of text in her brain parts. That's kind of what I can do, but I can't pronounce things properly. You all know that. I only speak one language. I am really terrible with mechanical stuff. I was told to stop helping put up the Christmas lights, so keep that in mind. Are you a big fan of World Series of Board Gaming? Oh, sure. I really like that con a lot. Now, competitive side of gaming, here's the thing. I admire it. I can look at it, and I can even talk about the games. I was in the finals and just, you know, commenting on the games and commenting on the play. I don't want to play that way, but I'm glad for those who do. Same thing with any sport. I don't want to play competitive basketball. Actually, I don't want to play pickup basketball. I don't want to play competitive baseball, but baseball's fine. All this discussion of books and reading has a feeling I should get back into it. Yeah, you should. Reading is great. Will Dice Tower be at PAX Unplugged next year? Well, watch our Game Found in January. Balatro is up for Game of the Year at the Video Game Awards. Yeah, but so is the downloadable content for Elden Ring. I find that really weird that they allow that. Like, I love Elden Ring and I love the DLC. It's very good. It's really cool. A lot of neat things in that DLC. But DLC is not a Game of the Year. Very weird. What is the listing of the Games of the Year? So, nominations for Game of the Year 2024. All right, so what do we have here? Let's see if these. Astrobot. I don't know anything about it. Looks cool. Metaphor Refantazio. Don't know anything about that one. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. This is the redone one. I started playing the first one, Final Fantasy VII, the first part of that, and I really disliked it. I just, because I love Final Fantasy VII, and when I found that combat was like real time, just run around and hit stuff, it just felt so weird to me. I loved the turn-based combat. That's one of the main reasons I played Final Fantasy VII. So I just It's not for me, that's all. I'm sure people loved it. So I'm assuming this one is more of the same. Black Myth Wukong. I watched a trailer for that one. That one looks very similar to Elden Ring. Balatro. And Elden Ring Shadow of the Erdtree. Yeah, I don't get that. Best independent game. Haven't played any of those. Yeah, I'm just not, when it comes to board games, I know what I'm talking about. When it comes to video games, I'm going through the list here and realizing I've played almost none of them. I played Elden Ring's expansion. But that's okay by me because and I just wait and see what wins and stuff, and then I end up playing them later on. It'd be interesting if there was a game with 1,000 components and the only rules in the rule book was play. Would be wild. Yeah, it would be. I mean, I can do that for you if you want. I can just pour 1,000 components in a box. What do you think of moving the rating system to S, A, B, C, D, F instead of 1 through 10? Nope. I don't want to. I feel many people rate games a 5 or 6 when it would be a D, F letter rating. Maybe. I'd give a 6. A 6 would be a C for me. It's all the same. It doesn't really matter. Again, I've said this so many times that we didn't want to put numbers on our reviews for the longest time because that's all people care about are those numbers. And I get it. The number means something to some degree, but I want people to listen to the review and hear what we said. Let's see here. Not only is there a trend in huge big boxes, but also huge miniatures like Cthulhu Death May Die, DC United, or Lands of Evershade. I find it annoying because I have no room for them. Fortunately for those, most of the time, you don't have to buy them. So, and they're not even that. There's like one scenario for them. I think this week I'm reviewing the new little, I'm reviewing Galactus this week. Yeah, I'll talk about that more then. Been catching up at the Table podcast. Why has Eric not been going to Essen? Well, Eric can't go to all these conventions over the course of a year because he has another full-time job. It is Eric's full-time job is voice work, audio work. He reads books, works the net 40 hours a week or more, like everyone else. So he's already going to a lot of cons. He came to Dice Tower East. He was at the retreat, and so he was on the cruise. So there's only so many weeks you can take off a year to do that sort of thing. That's why. Is there any chance you'll switch the podcast music back to the original theme? New podcast, new theme. So that's where we're at right now. Do you have to pay taxes for games that are given as review copies? I don't think so. That'd be odd. I don't know. I don't think so. That's the last tax question I'm going to answer because I don't know enough to tell you. I have an accountant who helps me with that one. I just received my large mat from the Kickstarter. Are all the dice avatars real people? Probably. If you ever meet me at a convention, you can ask, and I might be able to tell you who they are. Thoughts on The Dark Knight Returns? Yeah, it's interesting. I like it a lot. It's very dark. I wouldn't want to read that sort of thing all the time. But it's a very good series. I really like the Robin character a lot. Switching from Kickstarter to GameFound. Yep, we are switching to GameFound. Are you switching your annual crowdfunding to GameFound? What benefits does it have over Kickstarter? I wanted to use GameFound this year. I'm not going to go into all the different ins and outs and why we chose it, but I just wanted to try it. What were my favorite toys as a kid? G.I. Joe, Transformers, Lego, Hot Wheels, bikes, guns, toy guns. Those were the top 5. I mean, I did those all the time. There was some magnet toy. I'll never remember what it was. Micro Machines. There were these magnetic big machineries that opened up. There were Mega Machines, I think there was a thing called too. I really like those. Yeah, that's kind of I think what those were. Sorry if you get addicted to Balatro. Right now, my mobile game of choice, and I play a lot of mobile games, my mobile game I'm playing is Vampire Survivors, which I'm really enjoying. I played that a lot. If you like roguelike games, this is definitely sort of one where you go through and you're just fighting a bunch of... Actually, I don't even know if you fight a vampire in the game. There's plenty of other monsters, skeletons, and stuff like that. I really enjoy it. I play a little bit of that every day, so maybe I'll switch to Balatro. We'll see. Who would be the 4 people you would bring with you if you were on Family Feud? Does it have to be my family? Because if it's no, you know what? This is going to get me in trouble. So there's no way I'm answering this question. Do you and your family do the exit advent calendar for the holiday season? Yeah, we just did the first one yesterday. It was December 1st, so we'll do the second one today. We figured out the first one pretty easily. We actually I shouldn't say pretty easily, it took us a while to figure it out, but that was because my daughter had built the code machine wrong. We're like, we know these numbers are correct. I feel like they're correct. And then I realized she had built it wrong. So we had a good laugh over that, and then we got it. I actually did like the reviews more when you didn't give ratings and instead gave a random 2 spaceships up. But then this person says, I found a 2 spaceships up kind of rating confusing. I agree. In which games we may not be aware of are you featured in as a character? I don't know. I mean, like, secretly? I don't know. I don't keep track. I apologize. I want to be in less if possible. I never played with Star Wars much when I was a kid. The only people I knew who had it didn't really want to mess with it, and so there wasn't much Star Wars playing. Mask, we played Mask every once in a while. I had a friend who owned everything, so that was interesting. My favorite were Hot Wheels that would change color if you put them in hot water and cold water. Yes, I definitely had some of those. The Castlevania DLC for Vampire Survivors is great. I know. It's like, I think there's more in the Castlevania DLC than there is the whole rest of the game combined. There's so much in it. But it's really good. This person says Balatro is not fun at all. Oh, okay. How do you fix crooked floppy hats that were once straight? I don't know. Rubber bands, maybe? Ooh, did I catch up on questions? I did. What is that all about? Let me see. What else is there to talk about? Well, like I said, we're getting things ready here. As soon as I'm done with this, I'm going to go do that. I'll be back later today playing Black Forest. We'll be playing that here in studio. Beyblades. I'm too old for Beyblades. I mean, I think they might have been out, but it wasn't something I got. Something I did enjoy as a kid, my mom got them for me, I thought they were great, were squareballs, which were square marbles that you hit with a thing. In fact, I liked them so much I remembered them. I had one in our marble race we used to do here, a square marble, just for the fun of it, because I thought it was pretty funny. Would you rather be on Jeopardy or Wheel of Fortune? I think I'd have a better chance on Jeopardy. Wheel of Fortune would be my wife's purview. Re-steaming the hat. Yeah, that would work. Am I a pastor on the side? I'm not a pastor on the side, but I do preach occasionally at my church, and I teach our morning worship class, Bible study class. I do that every other Sunday at our church. And also I teach the kids on Wednesday night for Awana. The rich kid down the street had the Matchbox all-metal Voltron. Oh yes, Voltron was cool. I never see any Dice Tower members on Nerd Incorrect's Codenames Twitch stream. I don't know what that is. Sorry. That would probably be the reason. I don't know what we're talking about. Tom needs a random answer die. Yes, no, maybe, sometimes, I don't know. Well, that's possible, I suppose. Have I ever played Rogue Hacker, Net Hacker, those original Rogue games? I have not, so I don't know anything about them, frankly. First, I never really played roguelike games before. I think the first one I played was Slay the Spire. It's funny because, again, with computer games, people are like, this computer game's great, this one's great, this one's great. I'm like, yeah, maybe, yeah. Right now, so I have 3 places I play games. The PlayStation 5, so right now that's Dredge. Then I have my iPad, which I play games on. That's like at night or something in bed, and that's Vampire Survivors. And then on my computer on Steam, I'm playing Dungeon Claw. So if you haven't played Dungeon Claw, I know Z played it on the, he played it on one of his What's Happening shows. Great little game with the claw thing. I might be giving up on that one now, though, because I keep doing really well and getting the final boss and getting shellacked, and I'm getting tired of getting shellacked on the final boss. Cartoons in the 80s and 90s were so superior to cartoons now. That's completely false, but I can see why you think that. That is just your nostalgia talking. If you think that that's true, go back and watch them. I love G.I. Joe. I went back and watched them, and I thought, wow, this is trash. And Voltron, trash. Like, compare the Voltron we were kids to the Voltron that just came out on Netflix. It's night and day. Look, I definitely don't get this whole old stuff is better. That's us Gen Xers talking. It's not going to be true. Those cartoons were not superior. They were great at the time, and we paid attention to them more because there wasn't anything else. The internet wasn't distracting us from them. Let's see here. How did you get so stylish? Not sure who you're talking to, because it ain't me. I beat it with the magnet character and the tentacle character. I got really close with the magnet character. I got really close, but the final boss just nailed me to the wall. That final boss is just so hard. I like the game up to that point, and that's where I kind of fall apart because they're so big and so bad. DuckTales animation is good. I won't argue that. DuckTales is a great cartoon, and the Disney Afternoon was very good. But, I was almost a teenager when that happened. But I still liked them a lot. But so's the new DuckTales, right? There's good and bad cartoons all the time. Looney Tunes is timeless. It's classic. Animaniacs was good. There's always been good stuff. But to say cartoons were better when we were kids, I think demonstratively false. Have I seen Moana 2 yet? No, but that's not because I just don't go to theaters very often. Although I did go to a movie theater last week, the week before Thanksgiving, and we watched Gladiator 2. I was intrigued with that one. I liked it fine. It's not as good as the first one, and it has some forced moment. There's a moment near the end, and I was like, it was kind of an odd moment there. But opening scene was cool. Whoever made that movie really likes animals, so there's that. I haven't watched. I like Disney movies fine. I just don't go to the theater very much. You glasses where you can change the front. No, that is these. I'm just not wearing any fronts right now because I'm about to put some fronts on when I go record. And ties. I'm matching ties and glasses. It's Pair Eyewear. P-A-I-R. Pair Eyewear. Eyewear. Do I have a favorite Christmas tradition? I don't think so. I just like being with my family for Christmas. Oh yes, I want to see the best Christmas pageant ever, but I'm going to wait till that comes out on video. But that was, as a kid, our teacher read that to us in elementary school. I still remember that. And I remember us thinking it was the funniest book we had ever heard. I remember us dying laughing at it. It was hilarious. I still remember the beats of that story. So if this movie is anything like that book, I'm hoping my kids will also enjoy it. So, all right. Well, that is it for today, folks. Like I said, if you're just tuning in watching us now, go and vote for the top 10 games of 2024. Go vote now. Also, you can vote for the best games of all time because we're getting ready for do that in January. So those are some things that are coming up. We'll be playing Black Forest live today. Tomorrow we have What's Happening. Wednesday we have Crowd Surfing. And I think that's all the live stuff this week, actually. Mostly because we're getting ready for the Winter Spectacular. But that's going to be live Monday through Friday of next week. We'll be posting the schedule for that probably around Wednesday. The schedule's pretty much finalized, but I want to just double check it and make sure everything before we post it up. Thank you all for watching, and I appreciate you checking out the Dice Tower. Until next time, I'm Tom Vasel. See you soon. Hey everybody, thanks for watching this video. If you like this review or whatever you just watched, wasn't it amazing? Check out our channel, Dice Tower. We have all kinds of things. We review games, we do top 10s, we play games live. It's all about board games, but especially the people who play them. Check out Dice Tower YouTube channel.